Welcome to another episode of Tutorials with Ike. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends. Still under financial mathematics, so you are going to be looking at simple interest and compound interest as well as annuities. So now what is simple interest? Now simple interest means that if let's say you deposit an amount of money in the bank, the interest they are going to give you every year is going to be the same. What that means is that if you deposit let's say 1,000 cedis in the bank, and let's say every year they are supposed to be giving you let's say 50 cedis, it means that in year 1 you are getting 50 cedis, year 2 you are going to get 50 cedis, year 3 you are going to get 50 cedis. So if it stays in the bank for 10 years, it's just 50 times 10, you get it, which is 500 cedis. If it's 20 years, just 50 times 20, you get it. That's the meaning of simple interest. But then for compound interest, every year it keeps on increasing. So maybe for year 1 it can be 50, for year 2 it can be 60, for year 3 it can be 70. It's compounded, you get it. That's the meaning of simple interest. Now the formula for simple interest is the principal times the interest or the rate. So interest times the time. Now I'm going to explain what this means. So the formula for simple interest, we represent simple interest by I. So anywhere you see I, that's interest or simple interest, especially the capital I. You get it. So the simple interest is the principal. So we represent the principal by P0. You get it. So P0 is our principal. Principal is just how much you are investing in the bank. You get it. Or how much you have when they've not put interest on it. That's all. So your original amount of money or your present value, how much you have right now, when no interest has been put on it, that's your principal. Then interest is how much you are going to put on it. Do you get it? So if let's say you are going to put 50 cedis on it, if you invested 1,000 cedis, you are going to put 50 cedis on it, then your interest is the I, which is the small I. Then T is how long the money is invested. So if you invest it for 2 years, your T will be 2. If you invest it for 3 years, your T will be 3. So now that we know this, if let's say right now I invest 10,000 cedis in the bank for 5 years, and I want to know how much I'll get after the 5 years. So after the 5th year, it will be how much I've invested. So that's my P0. So how much I've already invested plus the interest. And we said that the formula for the simple interest is P0 or PO times I times T. You get it? And this is how much I've invested. So how much I've invested plus the interest they are going to give me. And this is the interest. So how much I've invested plus all this. So plus into brackets, you just repeat the same thing, PO times I times T. So if I've invested 5,000 cedis in a bank, the P0 will be 5,000, then plus the interest. We already know that all this is interest. So if I've deposited 5,000 cedis in a bank and I want to know how much I'm going to get at the end of the 5th year or the 10th year, or how long I'm investing, it's how much I've invested, which is the P0 plus the interest. And this is the formula for the interest. So how much I've invested plus the formula for the interest. That's all. So we can make this our PT, which is how much I'm getting at the end of the 5th year or at the end of me investing the money. You get it? So if it's 20 years, at the end of the 20 years, what I'm going to get, we represent it by PT. You get it? The final amount of money you are going to get. So PT is the amount of money you are going to get after the period of time. You get it? So if I invest, let's say 10,000 cedis in a bank for let's say 5 years, at the end of the 5th year, that's when I'm going to get the money. So this PT is the future value. You get it? Just put in your mind, PT is always the future value. It's the future value because assuming let's say I invest 10,000 cedis in a bank for 10 years, how much I'm going to get if let's say they are going to give me 2,000 cedis at the end of the 10 years. So now it will be 2,000 plus the 10,000, which is 12,000 cedis. That 12,000 cedis is a future value because I'm not getting it right now. You get it? I'm going to get it in the future after the 10 years. So PT is also the future value. Just put it in your mind. So now that we know that the PT, which is our final value or the future value or the amount of money I'm going to get at the end of a period, is equal to P0 plus into brackets P0 times I times T, we can simplify it. So our PT will be equal to P0 into brackets. P0 is already here, so into brackets 1. You get it? Because you are just factorizing. So 1 times IT. I times T is IT. So the formula for the future value, which is the PT, is P0 into brackets 1 times IT. We just factorized. Do you get it? P0 times 1 is the same as P0. You get it? So that's how we came about this. So just put to your mind the formula for the future value, which is PT, is equal to P0 into bracket 1 times IT. So if this is the future value and this is the amount of money, the P0, the amount of money you're investing, is also the same as the present value. You get it? How much you're going to invest at that particular point and how much you're going to get after they've given the interest to the PT. So if I want to make P0 the subject, which is the present value, the subject, I can just divide both sides by what is multiplying P0. So we have PT is equal to P0 into brackets 1 times IT. So if I want to find my P0, I can divide both sides by 1 times IT. Then I also divide both sides by 1 times IT. Then this will cancel this. So at the end of the day, my P0 is equal to PT over 1 times IT. You get it? So if I want to find the present value for simple interest, this is the formula I use. So if you go to the bank and they tell you that, let's say, in 5 years' time, they are going to give you, let's say, 70,000 cedis, but you want to know how much it is worth now. You get it? This is the formula you use because P0 is the present value and PT is the future value for simple interest. So if they also give you the present value and you want to find the future value, this is the formula you use. PT is equal to P0 into brackets 1 times IT. Get it? Where P0 is your present value, then the I is the interest and T is the number of years. You get it? Or the time that you're investing. So now that we know all this, let's take some examples for you to understand it better. So let me just clean everything. Alright, so let's take a look at this question. So the question says, a savings account of 10,000 cedis earns simple interest at 5% per annum. Calculate the value of the account into bracket the future value after 6 years. So they've given you the present value, which is 10,000 cedis. It says a savings account of 10,000 cedis earns simple interest at 5% per annum. Calculate the value of the account after 6 years. So now you are now about to calculate the future value, which is the value you get after the 6 years. 6 years from now is not the same as present. Do you get it? So they're asking you to find for the future value. Do you get it? And I said the future value is represented by the PT. And what's the formula for the PT? The PT is the P0, which is the principal plus the principal times the interest rate times the time. Do you get it? So this is the formula for the PT, the future value. So just put it to your head. When the question asks you to find the future value and it's simple interest, this is the formula you use. PT is your future value. P0 is the present value or the principal. The principal is the same as the present value. Then I is the interest rate. Always divide the interest rate by 100. So if it's 5%, 5 over 100. If it's 6%, 6 over 100. 10%, 10 over 100. Then T is the number of years. Do you get it? So now that we know this, our future value, which is a PT, will be equal to our principal. What's our principal in the question? It says a savings account of 10,000 cedis. So that becomes our principal. Do you get it? So it's equal to P0, which is our principal. So 10,000 plus our principal again, which is 10,000 times the interest rate. What's the interest rate in the question? The interest rate was 5% per annum. And I said that anytime they give you the interest rate, you divide it by 100. So what is 5 over 100? So for 5 over 100, you are getting 0.05. So times 0.05 times the T. T is the number of years. So they said after 6 years, so our T is 6. So times 6. So you just punch this on the calculator, then we find our future value. So let's punch it on the calculator and see what we get. So you are getting 10,000 plus into brackets 10,000 times 0.05 times 6. So you are getting 13,000 cedis. So this is our future value. So it means that you want to save 10,000 cedis now, but when you go and put it in the savings account, after 6 years, you are going to get 13,000 cedis. So you've gained an interest of 3,000 cedis. Do you get it? So that's how we solve a question like that. Let's take another question and see how we go about it. So the question says, a woman deposited 460 cedis at the bank and earns simple interest at 12% per annum for 4 years. what is the amount at the end of the 4th year? So a woman deposits 460 cedis. So that's her principal. So her principal is 460. So if you want to calculate the value at the end of the 4th year, that's our future value. So our future value, the formula is already here. And the principal, which is the P0, is how much she's investing at that particular point. It's also the same as the present value. So that one is 460. So it's equal to 460 plus into brackets P0. Our P0 is 460. Then times the interest rate. So what's the interest rate in the question? It said 12%. So 12 over 100. Anytime they give you the rate, you divide this by 100. So 12 over 100 is 0.12. Then times the time, you get it, or the number of years. So they said, what is the amount at the end of the 4th year? So our T is 4. If it's at the end of the 6th year, your T will be 6. At the end of the 7th year, your T will be 7. So you can just punch all this on the calculator. So let's punch on the calculator and see what we get. So we have 460 plus into brackets 460 times 0.12 times 4. So we are getting 680.8. So 680.8. So the woman deposited 460 in the bank, but then after the 4th year, because they'll be giving her interest, she's going to get 680.8. You get it? So at the end of the day, she's making interest. So anytime they give you a question, that's how you solve it. So this is the formula for the future value. If you want to get the present value, just make PO the subject or P0 the subject, then find the present value. If you want to get the interest, you make I the subject, then you find it. That's how you go about it. All right. So now you are done with simple interest. You are going to move on to compound interest. Compound interest. So let me clean the board. So now you're going to move on to compound interest. So what is compound interest? So unlike simple interest, where let's say if you are depositing 10,000 cedis in a bank this year and they are giving you, let's say, interest of 500 cedis this year, next year they're going to give you 500 cedis, the next 2 years 500 cedis. That's for simple interest. But for compound interest, the amount keeps increasing every year. So if let's say this year you are making 500 cedis, so you are getting an interest of 500 cedis, next year it could be 700 cedis, the next year it could be 900 cedis, or any amount. But the amount is not the same every year. The more you keep the money in the bank, the more your interest keeps increasing. Do you get it? And now most banks actually operate with compound interest. So that's compound interest. So for simple interest, you said the formula is, if you want to know how much you are getting at the end of the period, it is P0 into brackets 1 plus the interest times the time. So this is the formula for simple interest, where P is the future value, how much you get at the end of the period after you've invested, and P0 is how much you are investing, and 1 is constant. The interest is the interest rate, and the time is the number of years. So assuming I'm investing 1,000 cedis in a bank, and the interest rate is 5%. If it's for 5 years, so I'm investing 1,000 cedis, which is my P0. So into brackets 1 plus, and the interest rate is 5%, so 0.05, which is my I. And I'm investing it for, let's say, 2 years. So to be 0.05 times 2. So at the end of the day, I'm going to get 1,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.05 times 2. So I'm getting 1,100. Do you get it? 1,100. So I invested 1,000 cedis in a bank. So it means in 2 years' time, I'm getting 1,100. Now, assuming it's 3 years' time, so I'm just going to change this to 3, which is the number of years, 3 years' time. So if you punch this on the calculator, you are getting 1,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.05 times 3. You're getting 1,150. So 3 years' time, 1,150. So this is 2 years' time. 3 years' time. Then let's try 4 years' time. So for 4 years' time, you just change this to 4. So if we change this to 4, and you punch it on the calculator, you're getting 1,200. That's for 4 years' time. So what did you realize? You realize that every year we are just getting 50 cedis. 2 years' time, you got 1,100. 3 years' time, you add 50, you got 1,150. 4 years' time, you add 50, you got 1,200. So you realize that the interest is always the same. But when it comes to compound interest, each and every year, the interest keeps increasing. So the formula changes from this one to, so that you clean the T. Then it now becomes an exponent. You get it? So the formula for compound interest, if you want to find the future value, is P0 into brackets 1 plus I exponent t, not times t. So just put it to your mind. For simple interest, the t is here. But for compound interest, the t is an exponent. So that your interest will be increasing exponentially. You get it? So also, if this is my future value, my PT is my future value, my P0 is my present value. Now to find the present value, what do? I just divide both sides by, so P0 is bracket 1 plus I exponent t. And I want to find my P0, which is the present value. I just divide both sides by 1 plus I t. Then I'll do same for the left hand side, 1 plus I exponent t. Then this will cancel this. So my P0 is equal to Pt over 1 plus I exponent t. You get it? So if I want to find the present value, it's just my future value over 1 plus I exponent t. I'm sure you guys remember this from business finance when we are doing time value of money. This PT is the future value. The I is the same as the R, or the rate, or the interest rate. Then T is the time or the number of years. You get it? So for compound interest, if you want to find the future value, this is what you use. If you want to find the present value, this is what you use. So now let's take an example under compound interest to understand it better. So it says 50 cedis is invested at 8% compound interest per annum for 3 years. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of 3 years. Then B, compute the present value of receiving I 62,985 cedis, II 150,000 in 3 years' time when the discount rate is 8%. Alright, so now the question says you should find the value of the investment at the end of 3 years if it's going to be compounded. You get it? So now you're talking about compound interest. So they've given you the present value, which is how much you're investing now. And we want to know how much it will be at the end of 3 years. So this is the future value, this is the present value. So now that we know this is the future value, so our future value will be equal to the present value. So the present value is 50,000 cedis, which has been given to us in the question. So 50,000 into brackets 1 plus, what is the interest rate in the question? 8%. So 8 over 100, that will give you 0.08. You get it, our I. Then T, it says for 3 years, so our T will be 3. So we can just punch all this on the calculator. So 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.08 exponent 3. So let's try it. 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.08 exponent 3. So you are getting 62,985.6. So 62,985.6 cedis. So you invested 50,000 cedis. But in 3 years' time, as they give you the interest, your money is going to grow from 50,000 cedis to 62,985,000 cedis. You get it? So you are getting an interest of about almost 13,000, about 12,985.6. Do you get it? So that's what it means. So anytime they give you a question like this, just use the formula. This is the future value, this is the present value, this is the interest rate, and this is the time. You get it? So that's for the A part of the question. Calculate the value of the investment at the end of the 3 years. So you just see that at the end of the 3 years, the value of the investment is 62,985.6 cedis. You get it? Now let's go to the B. So the B, they said calculate the present value of receiving I 622,985 cedis, then II 150,000 cedis in 3 years' time when the discount rate is 8%. So this time they are saying you should calculate the present value, meaning whatever they've given you is the future value. You get it? So they give us a present value of 62,985, which is what is here. And they are saying we should calculate the present value for this. We already can tell that it's about 50,000 cedis, because if this is the future value, this will be the present value. But since they've asked us, we need to solve for it. So now if this is the future value they are talking about, and they said you should calculate the present value, and this is the present value, you just make P0 the subject and calculate for it. So if you want to make P0 the subject, we just divide both sides by 1 plus I exponent t. And we are getting P0 is equal to Pt over 1 plus I exponent t. You get it? You divide both sides by 1 plus I exponent t, which is what we did earlier on. So just put it to your mind, this is the formula for the present value. The future value over 1 plus I exponent t. where we make P0 the subjects. So having that in mind, our PT, which is our future value, is the 62,985. Then over 1 plus, so 1 plus I. I is the interest rate. They said the discount rate is what? 8%. So 8 over 100, which is 0.08. Then exponent T. T is the number of years. So the number of years is going to be 3. Because they said in 3 years' time, so the number of years is going to be 3. So you can just punch this on the calculator. So you have 62,985 over 2 brackets 1 plus 0.08 exponent 3. So you are getting 49,999.5, which is almost the same as 50,000 cedis. So our answer is correct. So yes, if you're asked to find the present value, this is the formula you use. The future value, which is the PT over 1 plus I exponent T. Then II says, calculate the present value of receiving 150,000 cedis in 3 years' time, when the discount rate is also 8%. So we just claim this one. Then we make here 150,000. That's all. But the formula is the future value over 1 plus I exponent T. The 1 plus I exponent T will not change. It's only the future value that will change, the PT, which is the 150,000 cedis. So we can punch 150,000 over 1 plus 0.08 exponent 3. So we are getting 119,074. So 119,074.83. 0.836. You can make it 0.84. So if this is the future value, this becomes our present value. That's what it means. So anytime they give you a question on it, this is how you go about it. You get it. So the last thing you're going to look under compound interest is monthly compounding. Monthly compounding. So let me clean the board and explain what monthly compounding is. Now the last thing I'm going to look under compound interest is monthly compounding. Monthly compounding. Now you realize that all the examples we did were compounding yearly. What that means is that if, let's say, you're investing 10,000 cedis, you're investing for like 3 years. So the first year they are going to give you the interest, the second year they'll give you the interest, and the third year they'll give you the interest. But you can also decide to compound monthly. What that means is that in a year you can compound, let's say, as many times as you want. So maybe twice a year, which is semi-annually. So maybe the first 6 months, they are going to give you the interest. Instead of taking your money the first 6 months, they can give you interest that time. Then the second 6 months or the second half of the year, they can also give you interest that time. You get it? So for a situation where you're compounding multiple times in a year, the formula changes to PT is equal to P0 into brackets 1 plus. So it's no more just I, it's now I over M. Then exponent T times M. So what did you realize? You realize that now, instead of I, it's now I over M. Then instead of T, it's now T times M. Now I'll explain it. The M is how many times you are compounding in a year. You get it? So for the first examples, we are compounding once a year. So it would have been I over 1. And I over 1 is the same as I, which is what is here. And yet it would have been T times 1. But then T times 1 is the same as T. You get it? But you can decide to compound more than once in a year. You get it? So if, let's say, you take 10,000 cedis in a bank, instead of taking it, let's say, the first 6 months, you can decide to, let it be there. Then that first 6 months, they're going to give you interest on it. Then the second 6 months again, they'll give you interest on it. You get it? So that way, you're compounding twice a year. So our M will become 2. You get it? If you're also compounding 4 times in a year, our M will become 4. You get it? So you divide the interest by the number of months so that every time you compound, they give you interest. You get it? And you also multiply the number of years times the month. Because if it's, let's say, twice in a year that I'm compounding, it means they should give me interest twice. You get it? So if it's 1 year, it will be 1 times 2. Then our T times M will become 2. You get it? So every time you compound, they are supposed to give you interest. I hope you get it. So now let's take a question so that you understand it better. So we have 50,000 cedis is invested for 3 years at 8% per annum, compounded semi-annually. A. Calculate the total value of the investment. So 50,000 cedis is invested for 3 years at 8% per annum, compounded semi-annually. So semi-annually means twice a year. Semi means half, so half in a year. Do you get it? So twice a year. So it means our M will be 2. Because I said that M is the number of times you compound in a year. Do you get it? So now that we have this in mind, 50,000 cedis is invested. So our P0 is 50,000 cedis, which is our principal or how much you are investing. Then 1 plus, what's the interest rate in the question? The interest rate is 8% per annum. So 8 over 100. Anytime they give the interest rate, you divide it by 100. So plus I, which is 0.08 over M. How much are compounding in a year? They said semi-annually, so our M becomes 2. You get it? Exponent T. How many years did they say? They said for 3 years, so our T will be 3 times the M. How many times are compounding in a year, which is 2? You get it? So you can just punch all this on a calculator and see what you get. So we have 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.08 over 2 exponent 3 times 2. So we are getting 63,265.9. So 63,265.95. So that's what you are getting. So the 50,000 is when it's invested for 3 years. After you've got the interest, and they're also compounding semi-annually or twice in a year, the amount of money you're going to get is 63,265.95. That's what it means. So let's go to the B part of the question. So the B part says, compare the return on the investment when interest is compounded annually to that when compounded semi-annually. All right, so this is when it is compounded semi-annually. So they are saying we should compare it to when it is compounded annually. You get it? So now that we know this is semi-annually, we now calculate for it is compounded annually. So this is the formula you use when it is compounded annually. You get it? So now let's put the 50,000 cedis in this formula to see which one will give us more returns. So we have PT is equal to, so our P0 is 50,000 into brackets 1 plus our I. Our I is 8%, so our interest is 8%, which is 0.08. 0.08 exponent T, which is the number of years, that's 3. So when you punch this on the calculator, let's see what you are getting. So 50,000 times into brackets 1 plus 0.08 exponent 3. So you are getting 62,985.6. You get it? So this was when it was compounded semi-annually, and this was when it was compounded annually. And the question says you should calculate or you should compare the return on the investment when it is compounded annually and semi-annually. So if this is semi-annually and this is compounded annually, we just calculate which one is more. You get it? And obviously 63,265.95 is more than 62,985.6. So you just conclude that when this is compounded semi-annually, it gives you more returns. Do you get it? So that's how you go about it. So let's go to the C part of the question. The C says calculate the total value of the investment when compounded I monthly, I daily. So let's clean the board so that we solve it. So the C says calculate the total value of the investment when compounded I monthly, I daily. So this is the formula we use because you are compounding more than once in a year. And I said the M is how many times you are compounding in a year. And if it's compounded monthly, it means you are compounding every month. So our M is 12 because there are 12 months in a year. Every single month from January to December, you are compounded. So our M becomes 12. So to be PT is equal to, our P0 is already 50,000. So 50,000 into brackets 1 plus our interest, which is 0.08 over 12. 12 because there are 12 months in the year, and they say you are compounding monthly. So over 12 times, then the number of years is 3 right here. So 3 times our M, which is 12. So you can just punch all this on the calculator. So we have 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.08 over 12 exponent 3 times 12. So you are getting 63,511.86. Yeah, so this is our final answer. So when it is compounded monthly, this is what you are going to get: 68,511.86. You get it. Then the II part says calculate the total value of the investment when compounded daily. So if you are compounding daily, it means that our M is going to be 365 because there are 365 days in a year. And I said the M is the number of times you compound in the year. Do you get it? So now our M will be 365. So let's substitute it into the formula. So PT is equal to P0, which is our 50,000, into brackets 1 plus I is 0.08. Then M is the number of times you compound in a year. Since it's daily, it's going to be 365. Then exponent T, which is 3 years, times RM, which is the 365. So you can punch all this on the calculator and see what you get. So we have 50,000 into brackets 1 plus 0.08 over 365 exponent 3 times 365. So you're getting 63,560.786. So when this is compounded daily, this is what you are getting: 63,560.786 cedis. You get it? So that's how we go about it. So just put it to your head. Anytime you are compounding more than once in a year, you divide the interest by the number of times you are compounding in the year, which is our M. Then exponent the T times the number of times you are compounding in a year. Do you get it? If the question doesn't specify that you are compounding more than once in a year, then this is the formula you use for the compound interest. Alright. So we are going to end here for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends. And I'll see you in the next video.